1-2. I did not have this on my Duke football bingo card 3 weeks into the season, especially I really think the Illinois game could have easily gone the other way. Forget the final score. Dave Harding, executive producer, Blue Devil Network, the man behind the magic, also analyst football games, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. So I brought up Illinois, and I'm curious, did Duke in some ways get beat twice by Illinois? Because I think they probably leave the game against the Illini thinking, man, we blew that. We were better than them, but we just couldn't get out of our own way, and maybe that kind of carried over to Tulane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Illinois game truly did, make a huge impact in what happened last weekend at Tulane, but everything plays together on a team and in a very complicated sport that ultimately really isn't all that complicated. It's about going out and executing, right? Whatever that is. And I think that the tone out of the Duke football camp coming off the Illinois game was to exactly like you said, we just need to clean up turnovers on offense and be a little more efficient on third down defense, and we're going to be good. And, oh, by the way, this is a top 15 team that's now moved into the top 10 in Illinois. Like, look at us. And I think if you turn the tape on or watch the game, Duke had better athletes. They ran well with Illinois. They had some matchup problems on the outside that Illinois had to contend with. I thought physically speaking, Duke helped set the tone along the line of scrimmage and absolutely shut down Illinois' running game. I think that was the vibe there. Then going on the road for the first time, I think the conversation was, all right, we clean up a few of those things. We tighten up the ship. And I don't want to say that they expected for it to be easy, but I think that there was maybe more confidence than maybe they needed going into the Tulane game. And I think that turned into a little bit more of a battle than anybody was expecting right out of the gate. And you've got to credit Tulane for that. I think their scheme on offense was superb and setting up their offense to basically neutralize a very aggressive defensive front. Get quarterback runs going on the outside, move in the pocket. It was just a really good game plan, and they threw the kitchen sink at Duke, and it was hard, got knocked back on their heels and hard for them to dig out. Is there a theme there? I think the theme is Duke needs to play more consistently. I don't think that they are going to be overly confident going into this one, even though they had success last year on the road in Raleigh. I think this is a mature enough team to look at the past two games and say, everybody's got to go to work and fixing something within their control and come back out with an all-new season with the ACC schedule opening up, which is works in Duke's favor because you can close the book on the non-conference initial part and completely go all chips in on this ACC run and still have a backdoor way of getting into the playoff if you make it to Charlotte.
Dave Harding is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Duke Radio Network. The other element is like penalties have really been difficult things for Duke to overcome, and not to belabor the Illinois part, but I still believe that the absolute moment of the game was the two number 8s on the punt return team, first possession, defensive possession out of halftime against the Illini. And it wasn't like there were tons of penalties in that game, but that was, to me, it was a turnover. It's effectively a turnover because you're giving the ball back to Illinois. How do you clean that up? Because sometimes if you're trying too hard to not commit penalties, everything else kind of goes away.
Yeah, I think actually you're right about the penalty being a big turning point in a game against Illinois. I walked away from that game able to point to 5 or 6 specific instances that occurred that arguably likely lost Duke the game. But then you turn around the next week and there were a whole lot more things that popped up that you didn't like to see. And I think it becomes a challenge to address certain things when you have problems with consistency, when you've got hot and cold on offense and on defense. The defense, one or two plays, they'll get an offense back on their heels, playing well, and then third down and long, give up a big play. How, as a team, how do you react when it seems like on any given play, you have the ability to go out there and absolutely dominate your opponent, but then at the same time, on any given play, we've shown a propensity to make a mistake and let our opponent stay on the field. And I think the answer there, and if you talk to Manny Diaz, what he would say is you got to go to work and you've got to believe in your rules. And there was some of this conversation through the first 2 weeks, Adam, about the Duke defense, one of the most aggressive, and did a great job last year in taking the football away. They hadn't had a turnover until the Tulane game. And if you're in the locker room and you're watching it on tape and everybody's talking about it, it becomes a thing that you focus on, and then you start to strain and stress over trying to get the turnover instead of just focusing on making sure you're getting a little bit better every day at practice and you're aware of your keys, you're reading what you need to read defensively, and you're getting your job done. And that same thing, the standard is the standard, is what Manny Diaz says, and it doesn't change if you're being really successful or if you're not having the consistency that you'd like. And I think that's not just coach speak, that's true. Because there's really no other way to go about addressing some of these things other than going to work and doing the work during the week with the right attention to detail.
Dave Harding is joining us. All right, let's get to this week because I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to be the best offense that maybe Duke will play against all year. C.J. Bailey, I mean, there's not more than one or two quarterbacks in the league playing even at his level, let alone above it. Hollywood Smothers, all the receivers, Justin Jolie's an NFL tight end. Offensive line, I don't think it's great, but it's certainly coming together. And then defensively in the second half, this is a team that has been great in the second half of the last two ball games. This is an incredible test for the Blue Devils, especially coming off two losses.
Yeah, it is, and especially when you consider outside of the talent and all the things that you just mentioned for NC State, they've found ways to win games.
Right.
And it's not like they've had cupcake opponents. I mean, I go back, everybody was talking, the whole preseason was about the ECU game and how is State going to react to what happened in the bowl game, and are they going to be ready? How do they handle their emotions? It was a close game, but they found a way to win it. Yeah. And the same goes for the Wake and Virginia games. They haven't been gimmies, but they've shown that they're able to find a way to win, and that points to the talent that you referenced, but also I think when I turn the tape on, I see a mature group, a group that doesn't get easily rattled. This is the best State offense I've seen in a long time, top to bottom. I think their offensive line is underrated, especially in the run game. They're playing really well. C.J. Bailey is the most improved player in the conference, as I see it. I mean, this is a true freshman last year that took his lumps, and he's changed his body. He looks much more, physical and built out, and he's making sound decisions with the football, distributing it evenly to a bunch of different receivers outside. This is the real deal offense, and going against a Duke defense that has struggled in limiting mobile quarterbacks and athletic quarterbacks to this point. So that's a piece that I'm going to be looking at. And then, defensively, both of these teams, Duke and NC State, Adam, very similar to each other, as I see it on tape too. Like, this is an aggressive front for NC State. They've got some questions in the back end, but these dudes can play along the line of scrimmage. They'll get after you in the pass game. They are great against the run and firing off the ball, and that's very similar to what Duke is defensively. I think the winner of this game, I think, comes down to between C.J. Bailey and Darian Mensah, who plays the cleanest game and which offense is able to have the more explosive plays, because they've both been explosive in their own ways. I think right now the edge, C.J. Bailey only thrown one interception all season. That's a huge winning edge for them. And I think if Darian Mensah and company can clean it up from a turnover perspective, this one could be a really close ball game and a rivalry that means a lot to both of these programs.
Dave Harding is joining us. I think the team that runs the ball the most effectively will win this game. And when State's been able to run the ball, because they didn't against East Carolina, which is why they struggled. They couldn't run it at all against ECU, and I was worried. But they ran it effectively in the last two games, which is why I think you've seen their offense unlock. If Duke can slow the running game down, I like Duke's chances. I think Duke will make big plays on defense. They're as good as anybody behind the line of scrimmage, no?
Yeah, they are. And I think you've got to, if you're talking about the run game, you've got to give Duke credit. They've improved on the ground game as well. I think the offensive line struggled last week a little with identifying the fronts, and there's a few missed assignments that ended up taking away some big explosive run opportunities against Tulane. State runs a little bit more of a conventional front. There's not as much shifting and moving around, so the offensive line should be able to find their linebacker responsibilities and work through the blocking fits a little bit better. And when they've done that, Duke has been very effective. And keep an eye on number 20, Nate Shepard, the true freshman running back for Duke. He, along with Jaquez Moore, are a great 1-2 punch. I mean, Anderson Castle has also been good. So they got a stable of running backs and have been pretty consistent on the ground. And you're right. Whatever team is able to balance their quarterback play off with the run and be more multidimensional offensively, I do think is going to have the upper hand. As
we let you go, Dave Harding joining us here, Duke Radio Network. I'm looking forward to the environment at Wallace Wade coming up on Saturday. It's been, for me, just watching it, a little bit disappointing against Elon, not a lot of people there. Also, Illinois maybe should have brought more fans out, but this will be a packed house, I believe, at Wally Wade for to team across the town. So should be an absolute blast. Should be a good, almost like a bowl environment. Yeah, as it should be. This is a big game. I mean, you got two teams that hadn't seen each other all that much over the years, with some recent history that makes this one a little bit more emotional maybe than your typical run-of-the-mill ACC team. Anytime you're seeing a team within your general geographic footprint, you want to make sure you make a stand. And I think the game last year gave Duke some confidence, but also made NC State a little mad. I think they felt like they didn't play to the standard that they expected to play. So it's an opportunity for everybody to get out in this 2025 version and make a statement early in conference play. And again, both of these crews have the talent at hand to make a run in the conference. Not many people talking about them, but I do believe that if they can get to playing some consistent football, and a win in this game helps set you up significantly on that journey. Yeah, it's a derby. For people who are into soccer, they'll understand what that means. Dave Harding, my man, I appreciate your time. Have a good time Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock kickoff at Wallace Wade State and Duke. Appreciate it, man. You got the only derby I know is the Kentucky Derby. It's very similar. It's only without horses. Thanks a lot.